Welcome to this audio on defeating imposter syndrome. I'm Stuart Borman, and in the next 20 minutes we'll explore how fear and self-limiting beliefs can shape our experience and how to break free from them. We all experience fear. As a coach, I can tell you that people in every level of an organisation, from C-suite executives to people working on the shop floor, all experience fear. Fear is part of being human. It creeps up on us in moments of uncertainty. It tells us we're not good enough, not qualified enough, not worthy enough. But the thing is, fear is not reality. Fear is thought, and thoughts are not truth. In this audio, we'll cover 3 broad topics. Number 1, see your thoughts for what they are. Number 2, find a way to quiet your mind and to manage your nerves. And number 3, take action, do the thing. So starting with number 1, see your thoughts for what they are. Well, imposter syndrome is rooted in self-limiting beliefs. Those persistent nagging thoughts that tell us we don't belong, we're not good enough, or that we're one mistake away from being found out. But these beliefs are just thoughts we've carried through time. They're not real. And thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. What I've found in my own life is this: the less seriously I take these thoughts, the less seriously they take me. Think about that for a moment. Have you ever bought into one of these thoughts and believed it? How did that impact you and hold you back? When we buy into these thoughts, we give them power. But when we see them for what they are, just passing mental activity, they lose their grip on us. Let me illustrate this with a powerful story that stuck with me. The legendary boxing trainer, Costamato, once shared a powerful insight about fear to a young Mike Tyson. He said, "The hero and the coward both feel the same thing, but the hero uses his fear, projects it onto his opponent while the coward runs. It's the same thing, fear, but it's what you do with it that matters." He also said, there's no difference between a hero and a coward in what they feel. It's what they do that makes them different. The hero and the coward feel exactly the same, but you have to have discipline to do what a hero does and to keep yourself from doing what the coward does. So this means that being fearless doesn't mean there's no fear. It means you proceed anyway. Fear itself is not the problem, it's how we respond to it. When we let the fear control us, we shrink back, avoid challenges, and this reinforces our self-doubt. But when we channel that same fear into action, when we move forward despite of it, we transform it into fuel for growth. A powerful way to flip the script on fear is to externalize it. By seeing the cause of our fear as the proverbial devil on our shoulder, we give ourselves something to fight rather than internalizing that same fear and blaming ourselves for it. It's a small change, but it can have a massive impact on our mindset and on our performance, spurring us on. So, ignoring our thoughts is not enough. We must take action. And more on that later. One thing we should look for in terms of imposter syndrome is a word: should. If you hear yourself saying, I should be able to do this, or I shouldn't be feeling like this, or I should be doing better at my job, these are all red flags for imposter syndrome. When this happens, notice. Then observe what's going on in your mind. See that it's just thinking, just thought, and not reality. If we're not careful, imposter syndrome can limit our success. It will keep us in our comfort zone. We will say to ourselves, I'm comfortable here. Do I really need to stretch and take on this challenging task? Thoughts like that will hold us back if we listen to them, but we don't have to. One of the most insightful things I've read or heard about this comes from Melissa Ford's book called Living Service, where she calls this learning aversion. Think about that. Isn't that really what imposter syndrome is? An aversion to learning. We have to be willing to fail and to learn. To move forwards in life, that's how we improve. I think that's such a powerful way to reframe it as learning aversion. Think of little children, how they learn. They have no fear to try new things. They treat life as an interesting experiment. They're playful and experimental in their approach to learning. If they trip up and hurt themselves, after a short while, they'll dust themselves off and try again. This is possible for us too. If we see learning as a daring experiment, we might just see ourselves and our success take off exponentially. One thing that is very helpful for remembering to implement this approach to learning aversion also comes from Melissa Ford's book. Her and some friends did an intervention on someone who was suffering from alcohol addiction. The person said, "How do I do this?" The question hung in the air for a bit, and then one of the group, the interventionalist, said, "All you have to do is remember the acronym HOW, H-O-W. It stands for honest, open and willing. That's all you have to do. That's how you achieve sobriety." Long story short, they successfully got him into a recovery program. And the HOW acronym is helpful for imposter syndrome too, which in its own way is a kind of addiction to comfort and playing it safe. The first step, honest, involves asking yourself, where am I not being honest about myself? What lies are you telling yourself? What stories are you believing? What unhelpful thoughts have you bought into that are not true? Open is about being open to experiment. It's about being open to try something new as an experiment, just like that small child. Willing is about a real commitment to our growth and to ourselves. It's about, even when we fail, being willing to get back on the horse and go again. To bolster this attitude in myself, I have a commitment to complete my mission or die trying. That's the kind of spirit you need, and a similar commitment for yourself will keep you moving forward even when times are tough. Sometimes when you're really weighed down by unhelpful thinking and anxiety is kind of out of control, you can find it hard to challenge negative thoughts in the moment. In times like this, it can help to write your thought down and to challenge it using cognitive behavioural therapy techniques, CBT techniques. SCB Executive Coaching has produced a resource, an Undermining a Self-Critical Thought Sheet to help you do just that and to remind you why you are uniquely qualified at what you do. Send me a message through the contact form on scbexecutivecoaching.com if you'd like a copy. Okay, now to part 2. Find a way to quiet your mind and manage your nerves. So here is something really interesting that I've discovered. When your thoughts settle down and you have a quiet mind, your imposter syndrome vanishes. When your thoughts settle down and you have a quiet mind, your imposter syndrome vanishes. What does this mean? It means that it's only our thoughts that can create self-doubt. It's only our thoughts that create all of our experience, actually. So if we are doubting ourselves, it must be an illusion. How best to achieve a quiet mind can vary from person to person. Some might enjoy a long walk out in nature. Others music, another person breath work or yoga. In my case, I do mindfulness meditation in the mornings. I notice the difference when I do it. It gives me more clarity, creativity, and I'm less plagued by negative thoughts. Whatever your thing is, I'd highly recommend that you have a system like my meditation to use to quiet your mind, especially when self-doubt looms large. Finding this system is something I work on if needed with my coaching clients. Part 3. Take action, do the thing. So lastly, as I've alluded to already, if we're to tackle self-doubt and imposter syndrome, we have to take action. We have to do the thing that scares us. There is no way around this. As an ex-colleague and friend of mine said to me recently in a rant about the younger generation, if you want success, you have to get stuck in. It's messy. There is no other way. And he's right. If you have imposter syndrome about a specific thing, the best thing to do is to take baby steps of repeated exposure to it. This will reduce your fear and self-doubt until you can do it with ease. Practice makes perfect, as they say. And as mentioned previously, be willing to learn. For example, back in 2007, in a previous life working for a waste management company, I had to give health and safety training to groups of up to 15 people. Public speaking terrified me. I was physically sick before speaking and shaking like a leaf during the presentations. Not good. I realised I had to take action. So I joined a public speaking club and attended each month, practicing my presentations. My fear got less and less, and I also hired a voice and presentation skills coach who taught me techniques for how to manage my fear to perform at my best. One of them was 7-11 breathing, a breathwork technique for calming your nerves. As a result of all this work, I was no longer sick before my presentations, and I even got to love presenting. I spoke to bigger and bigger crowds, starting with an event organised at a Sikh temple, arranged by one of the members of my speaking club, and it was attended by 50 people. To date, the largest audience I've spoken in front of was 175 when I told my story at my baptism in 2024. This year in 2025, I've been booked to speak to 90 plus job seekers on Zoom, which will be my biggest online audience to date. And I expect I'll be talking to bigger and bigger audiences. So I've come a long way just by exposing myself incrementally to that thing that scared me. And you can do that too. Some other things which nearly made this audio other powerful methods for tackling imposter syndrome, which I will save for other talks, are visualizing success, which is something that is done at the elite levels of sport and business, and making a commitment to be the kind of person that does not let their fears hold them back, embodying that person now. A final thought. So that inside-out understanding teaches us that well-being, confidence and worthiness are our default state. Imposter syndrome is simply a veil of thought covering up what has always been there. Your brilliance, your light, your confidence, and your unique contribution to the world. As Jesus said, no one lights a lamp and hides it. So next time self-doubt creeps in, remember this. Thoughts are just thoughts, they're not reality. The less seriously you take them, the less seriously they take you. Fear fades when we take action, even in small steps. Be honest, open, and willing. See learning as an experiment, not a test of worthiness. And to summarise my summary, and to make it more memorable, remember these top 3 themes for defeating imposter syndrome. See your thoughts for what they are. Find a way to quiet your mind and calm your nerves. And take action, do the thing. Remember, you've always been enough, and the world needs what only you can bring. Thank you for listening, and for more content like this, sign up to the newsletter and reach out to me via scbexecutivecoaching.com. I would love to hear what stood out for you from this audio. Until next time, take care of yourself and shine bright.